Hello everyone, welcome back to the Atreyu Crochet channel. I do know that it has been a while and I apologize for that. For those of you who have been subscribed to me since the beginning, you know that I'm very busy and it's really hard to find time to get on and make videos for you guys. But you always know that eventually I come back and I deliver a video. Today's video will be no exception. So I do hope that everyone is being safe, everyone is doing well. Thank you to all of the new subscribers who are continuing to come on board and become a part of this community. Welcome. And I think we might have over 1,000 subscribers, so that's really cool. I didn't expect that, but I am grateful for you guys. So in today's video, I am going to be showing you how to make a face mask. And I've seen a lot of face masks, a lot of tutorials for face masks, and none of them really quite delivered what I was looking for. You know, you had a lot of people who came up with their own patterns. You saw others who had regurgitated patterns, but none of them were quite to my satisfaction. That is to say, none of them really resulted in the type of face mask that I was interested in wearing. So I designed my own face mask, and that's what I'm going to be showing you how to make today. So one of the things that I wanted my face mask to have was definitely the elastic band, and I also thought that it would be a good idea to be able to have this section which you can slide a filter in there or some type of cloth if you want, but to be able to remove this front section so that you have like this little mouthpiece. So maybe you're drinking tea or coffee when you're at work, or maybe you're even eating something, or maybe you're sipping something through a straw. But this opening is really cool for your mouth because you don't have to take the entire mask off of your face. You can just simply unbutton it, hold it over, and then eat or drink away, right? And then when you're all done, you can just button it back up like that. So that was something that I was looking for. So I made this one, and then I thought about how, especially since it's been like really hot lately, how sometimes when you're wearing face masks, you can just get super super hot, super panicked, and it can even almost feel like you're unable to really breathe well, especially if you're, you know, running or just moving with a lot of velocity or swiftness. So I made another one which has the elastic band on either side. It has the button. It also has a place to slide in a filter or another piece of fabric. But once you unbutton it, this one not only has a space for your mouth to eat or drink, but a little opening for your nose as well. Okay? So I was thinking about people who might possibly suffer from panic attacks. You know, when you're wearing these things, and it's mandatory at this point in our lives, especially when we're indoors, like at stores, shopping, or whatever, it can be quite, I don't know, it can lend for a quite claustrophobic feeling, you know? So sometimes you just need to take the mask off and like regroup. Or maybe if you're overheating, you just need to like be able to like really like breathe. So I designed this mask so that it has both a mouth opening and a nose opening, and then you can, you know, catch your breath, kind of relax a little bit, and it won't take, you know, that much time. And then when you're all set to go, just button it back up. Once again, never having to take the mask as a whole off, but just being able to unbutton it, open it up, and get some air. So this is kind of what I was looking for. I couldn't find, so I decided to design my own. And in today's video, I'll be showing you how to make your own. Let's get to it. Things you will need include, of course, you need some yarn. And if you're like me, you have tons of leftover yarn from previous projects. So just grab a skein. It doesn't take too much yarn to make these face masks. So I'll probably use this camo yarn today because it seems like the perfect thing for a face mask, especially for a dude. But I'll probably make my friend a face mask out of this sparkly purple one. Yeah, so grab some yarn. These are medium 4. And like I said, you only need one skein. If you're going to do 2 different colors, for instance, with this one I did black and red, then just you can have 2 skeins. Not that you need the entire skeins, obviously, but just for the sake of having 2 colors. So, yarn. You will also need a size I USA crochet hook and some white braided elastic band. This is a 1/4 inch thick, and this whole spool is about 70 yards. I got it for $12.99 on Amazon online. You also need a tape measure of some sort to measure out this elastic band. You're going to need a stapler, a pair of scissors, and some buttons. So choose what type of button you're going to use and make sure you have it. And finally, you're going to need a darning, tapestry, weaving needle of some sort. Okay, they go by many names. The thing to note though is to make sure that when it comes to your button, you have the appropriate size, let's say, weaving needle. So if I were to take this one, the eye is large enough for the yarn to be threaded through, or yarn through if you will, but can it get through the hole? Okay, see how this is not going through easily? Of course I could probably force it through, but it might be harder with yarn on there. So if I had a button with smaller holes, then I definitely wouldn't be able to get these through. So make sure when you choose the darning needle or weaving needle, you know, it's the appropriate size for the size of the holes of the button. This obviously will fit through with relative ease, but is the eye large enough to get the thread through? So you'll see that when I made the black face mask, this is the leftover red that I was using to sew on the button. I ended up using this one, and it was the perfect combination of size of the eye with just the overall size of the needle itself. Okay, so that's just something to be mindful of and to look out for. Make sure that your weaving, darning, tapestry needle can, 1, support the yarn, but 2, fit through the button, because you would hate to get to that point and realize you don't have what you need. Talk about frustrating. Alright, let's get to making this. Alright, so first we're going to start out with the slip knot. And remember, we're using a size I USA. And we're just going to chain out 35 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 5 more, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. Okay, so now we've chained out 35 stitches, so this will be roughly the width of our face mask when it's all said and done. And now we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Okay, so here's the hook, here's the chain closest to the hook, that one right there. This is therefore the second chain from the hook. So 1, 2. And we're single crocheting, so that means we just go in, we don't yarn over first. Go in there, yarn over, pull through to the front. You have 2 loops, yarn over, and go through both. Alright, we just made our first single crochet of this row. And now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 3 chains or stitches. So we use that one. The next chain is here. So we go in there, yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so 1, next chain, 2, next chain, 3. Okay, so essentially we have crocheted 4 single crochets. This was the first one in the second chain from the hook, and then we did 1 in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have 4 single crochets. Now we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the next 7 stitches, or the next chain, 7 chain stitches. So you guys remember how to do a half double crochet? Basically, you yarn over like a regular double crochet. You go into the next chain, you yarn over, pull through to the front. You have 3 loops on your crochet hook, just like with the double crochet. But now with the half double crochet, when you yarn over, instead of going through 2, yarning over and going through 2 again, you yarn over this one time and you go through all 3 loops. That's a half double crochet. Okay, and if you look at it, it's a little bit taller than the single crochets you made before. Alright, another half double crochet, yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops on your crochet hook, yarn over, go through all 3. Alright, so we said 1 half double crochet in the next 7. We just made 2, so we have 5 more to go. Yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. 3. I'm going to start counting. 4. 5. 6, and 1 more. Yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops left on there, yarn over, go through all 3. 7. Okay, so let's count. We made 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets, and now we're supposed to make 7 half double crochets. So let's see if we have them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very good. It's very important that you keep track of your number of stitches, okay? And by the time we're done with this row, we're going to have a total of 34 stitches. Alright, so now that we're done with the 7 half double crochets, now we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 12 stitches. So let's go to that next chain, yarn over, and here's the next chain, go in there, yarn over, pull through to the front, like I said, just like with the half double, yarn over. Now instead of going through everything, we go through 2, yarn over again, and go through 2. Okay, so it's even taller than the previous half double crochet. So we just made 1, now we have 11 more to make because we have a total of 12 to make. 1 in the next 11 stitches. Yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2 because we're making double crochets now. Yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, and if you look at it, you can see a definite height difference. So we've made 3 double crochets. That means we have 9 more to make. So let's get moving. Okay. 4, 5, 6. Let's give ourselves some slack. 7, 8, 9, 10, making sure I'm not skipping any chains, going in the very next stitch. 11, and you can tell where the very next stitch is by lifting up on the current stitch, noticing that loop there. It's tugging on that chain, so you know that this one is the next one. And this is 12. But I'm going to go back and count just to be sure and safe. Okay, so I see this was the first double crochet because it's taller than that half double crochet there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the cool thing about this variegated yarn is that because it changes colors so often, it helps when you're counting because they look different, right? See these 2 different color greens, clearly different there. Those 2 have brown, this is black and brown, and so on. So this should help with the counting. All right, now after we've done our 12 double crochets, now we go back to the half double crochets, and we're going to basically mirror the other side. So since we did 7 half double crochets before, we're going to do 7 half double crochets again on this side. So yarn over, go through, yarn over, and go through everything. Remember, that's the half double crochet. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and now we should have 4 chains left to make our last 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it works out, which is always a good thing. 1 single crochet, remember you just go in, yarn over, 2 loops, yarn over, go through both loops. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, this is row 1 of our face mask, and you see how it goes from a less tall section, it gradually gets taller. This is where you reach the maximum height in terms of the height of the stitches, and then it decreases again, and it's symmetrical. I have a thing for symmetry, people. Alright, let's move on to row 2. So we're going to chain 2 now. I'm going to turn our work, just flip it on over. And in this tutorial, we're always going to make the first stitch occur in the very last stitch of the previous row. So in this very first stitch that you chain 2 up out of from the previous row, it's right here, that last single crochet, we're going to go right back in it because this will help to keep our edges straight. Okay, so we chain 2, we turn, and now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. And remember, we go in that very first stitch. So it's a single crochet, so we don't yarn over first. We just go in there. And now we're just going into the top because we're actually crocheting into stitches and not chain stitches. And then yarn over and go through both loops. So that's 1. Go into the next stitch, going through the top. That's 2. Go into the next stitch, Might be kind of hard to see with this black, so I'm going to try to get closer. Okay, so this is the top of the stitch. So go into there, top of the stitch, just kind of slice the icing off of the top of the cake. Yarn over, pull through, and make your single crochet. That's 3. And then last one, slice the top of the cake, the icing off of it, yarn over, pull through, and that's 4. So essentially what we did was we put single crochets into the single crochets of the previous row. Okay? Now we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the next 7 stitches. And in the previous row, these are the 7 half double crochets we did. So right now we're putting the same type of stitch into the same stitch below, if that makes sense. So 7 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Moving along, if you're wondering, 4, 1 stitch per stitch below. I think that's 5. Let's see. So I like to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 6. And then this should be the 7th, and it is. You can also tell because this stitch right here in the row below is definitely taller than that one. So that means this is the last half double, and then we get to the doubles. So 7. So I use all the clues possible to make sure that I'm doing what I should be doing. Okay. Counting my stitches, noticing the size or height of the stitches. Use whatever you have at your disposal to keep you on track with the pattern. Alright, now that we've done those 7 half double crochets, guess what? We're going to do 12 double crochets. So 1 double crochet in each of the 12 double crochets in the row below. So yarn over, go into the top, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if I'm moving too fast, feel free to watch this video on a slower speed. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay? And once again, I like to look at all the clues. This last stitch that I crocheted into is definitely taller than the next one, so I know that I've definitely reached my last double crochet. And I have my 12 double crochet here, so that's good. So now I'm going to go back to the half double crochets, and I'm going to put 1 half double crochet into the next 7 stitches. Yarn over, go into the stitch, and go through everything like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay? And I should have 4 more stitches left for this row. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And guess what we're going to put in those stitches? You guessed it, 1 single crochet in each of those. So remember, with single crochet we don't yarn over, we just go in. 1, 2, 3, and with this last one, just try to get it somewhere in the corner there. Okay, so see that top? You can clearly see the top when you turn it that way. So Just kind of turn it toward you, slice the icing off of the top of the cake like that. And then put your 4th single crochet in there. Okay, so now we've completed 2 rows. Moving on to row 3, we're going to chain 2, turn our work like that, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. So remember, when we begin rows, we always crochet into the same stitch that we chain 2 out of, so that very first stitch. In some patterns, they may have you crochet into this next stitch, but for my pattern, I want you to crochet into this very first stitch because it helps the edges remain straight. So we're putting single crochets, so we just go into the top of the stitch like that, and voila, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, those are our first 4 single crochets. Now we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the next stitches, so that part is familiar. 1, 2, 3. I don't know how my yarn is coming from above. I guess when I was giving myself slack, it got caught on to an object above. Alright, so I've done 3. 1, 2, 3, so I have 4 more to go to make 7. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Once again, I like to count, so 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And once again, I notice that the height of this stitch that I crocheted into is shorter than this one, so I know I've reached the double crochets in the row below, which is a clue that I probably need to do something different at this point. Alright, so now that I've done my 1/2 double crochet in those 7 stitches, we're going to change it up and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 12 stitches. So instead of now putting 1 double crochet in the next 12, we're going to go back small. We're going to go to a shorter stitch. Okay, so single crochets in the next 12. So, you know, with single crochet, you don't yarn over first, you just go in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And once again, this is another check. This is the 12th stitch, and a way to check that is to compare the height of this double crochet, because we know this should be the last double crochet, which means the next stitch should be a half double, and there is a height discrepancy. So this 12th single crochet that we're about to count is indeed going in the 12th stitch, the 12th double crochet in the row below. So our counting is sound. Alright, now you might be wondering, why did we put single crochets instead of double crochets? Well, the reason is to basically give room for the mouth. So we didn't want to have as tall of a stitch because we wanted to make the opening as large as possible. I suppose I could have slip stitched across and that would have done it even more, but single crochets work fine. Okay, so now that we've done our 12 single crochets across, we're going to do 1/2 double crochet in the next 7 stitches. So 1, and when your yarn splits, just take your time, pull it out where you need, and go through carefully. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we've done this enough to know that there should be 4 stitches left. Okay, let's see. Yep, when we turn it, we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's where our last 4 stitches are gonna go, and yes, they're gonna be single crochets. So let's go back to the single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and remember, it helps to turn this way so you can see clearly where the top is. Just slice the icing like that off the top of the cake, and 4. Okay, so this now is what we have so far. Okay. Alright, moving on to row 4, we're going to chain 2, turn our work, and we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. Remember that very first stitch, that's where we put our single crochet. 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to put 1 half double crochet in the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let me just count just to be sure. So here are your first 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 7 half doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next, we're going to put 1 treble crochet into the next 2 stitches. So the way you make a treble crochet is you yarn over twice, 1, 2, and then we go into that stitch, the top of it, like always. Yarn over, pull through to the front. We have 4 loops on our crochet hook. We yarn over, we go through 2, 1, 2. We yarn over, we go through 2, 1, 2, and we yarn over and we go through 2, 1, 2. Alright, so I said 1 treble crochet into the next 2 stitches. That's 1. Let's do the next one. Yarn over twice, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And if your yarn splits like that, just take it out. It's best to just take it out and get it right. Okay, it will look that much better and that much neater. Go back in, yarn over, pull through to the front, 4 loops on the crochet hook, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Alright, these are our 2 treble crochets, which are taller than the half double crochets, obviously. And if there was a double crochet, you would see that it's even taller than the double crochet. So now we're going to chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And even though we chain 12, we're going to only skip over 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the 8 stitches that we're skipping over, which means we're going to crochet into this one. And in that one, we're going to make a treble crochet. So now we're going to do 1 treble crochet into the next 2 stitches. So keeping that symmetry. So we yarn over twice. This can be kind of awkward coming from chain stitches, but just get your bearings and go into the top of that stitch. Yarn over, pull through to the front, and now you should have 4 loops. And you can just pull the chain around like that. And when you do that, you see all 4 loops. So first it was kind of wrapped around like that. Just rotate that around like that. And now you see all 4 of your loops. Okay, so yarn over, go through 2, 1, 2. Yarn over, go through 2, 1, and 2. and yarn over and go through the last two. 1, 2. Okay, and you see this is creating the mouth gap. Okay, and I said one treble in the next two, so we did the first one. Let's do another one. Yarn over twice, go into the top of it, yarn over, pull two to the front, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two. Now we are going to put 1/2 double crochet into the next 7 stitches, as I said, maintaining that symmetry. So yarn over just once, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, you have 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. Alright, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And even before looking, we know we should have 4 stitches left if we're maintaining the symmetry. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we do. For those last 4 stitches, we're just going to put 1 single crochet into each one of them. So no yarning over, just going in, pulling through, yarning over, going through the 2 loops. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that is row 4, and this is what it should be looking like. Now you might be wondering why I did treble crochets. I wanted to get the gap as tall as possible while still as feasible. Okay, now moving on to row 5. So we chain 2 to get us up there. We turn our work, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. No surprise there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now we're going to put 1/2 double crochet in the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just as a check that we put the 7/2 double crochets into the 7/2 double crochets in the row below, we see that there is a huge height difference between this stitch and this one. So we know that that is the end of the 7 there. And now we go to the treble crochets. Okay, so for these remaining 2 trebles, we're going to put a double crochet, 1 in each one. So yarn over, go into the top, 1, and then the next one, 2. Now we're going to put 8 double crochets across this chain 12. So don't try to go into the chains, just kind of spread the double crochets out along the chain 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Give myself some slack. Okay, so 4. I have 4 more to go. 1, just in case you didn't see what I was doing. Yarn over, go up under the chain. Yarn over, pull through to the front like that. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. And now that we've made our 8 in here, you can always count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, these 2 treble crochets. So yarn over, go on the top of that first one. 1, 2, and 1, 2. Okay, so you'll start to see, and you can kind of spread these double crochets across a little bit so that they're more evenly displaced. And that's another reason why I didn't want you to crochet into the chains, because we were only gonna crochet 8 double crochets, but they're 12 chains, so it's better to just crochet around it like that. Okay, so essentially when you count these 2 stitches and these 2 stitches, so those 2 and those 2 above, plus the 8 in the center, that's our 12 that we've been crocheting in the center all along. So now we're gonna make our 7 half double crochets, so 1 half double crochet into the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then, you know it, 4 single crochets into the remaining 4 stitches. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have 4 at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 1, 2, 3. You can turn it to see the top there. Slide in, slice the icing off of the top of the cake like that. And then this is your 4. Notice how the edges are staying straight. Okay, so this is what we have so far. So we have our hole for our mouth, which is what we've wanted. Okay, now we're going to work on the hole for the nose. Moving on to row 6, we're going to chain 2, turn our work, and 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. So remember, it's always that very first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now we're going to do 1 half double crochet into the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So yarn over, go in, 1, yarn over, okay. Next one, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. That's 2 double crochet. Yarn over, go into the next one, and this happens to be the first double crochet over that chain 12 space, if you will. And 3. So those are our 3 double crochets. So once again, we did 4 single crochet, 7 half double crochet, 3 double crochet, and now we're going to do 1 treble crochet in the next stitch. So yarn over twice, 1, 2, go into the next double crochet below, yarn over, pull through to the front. There are 4 loops. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. All right. That's the 1 treble crochet, and now we're going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, we're only going to skip 4 stitches. So get your face mask situated, and this was the last stitch that we crocheted into, so we need to skip 4. So we're skipping that one, we're skipping that one, we're skipping that one, and we're skipping that one. Okay? Once again, skip, 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 and skip. So that means we're going to crochet into this one. Okay? that 5th one. So when we crochet in here, we should have 4 that we did not crochet into. And you might be wondering, well, what are we going to put into that stitch? Well, now you're going to put 1 treble crochet into that stitch. So yarn over twice, 1, 2, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, our 4 loops. And remember, when you chain, it might try to wrap around, just pull it back like that. And you'll see your 4 loops. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And remember, you should have 4 stitches that you skipped over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Now we are going to put 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, maintaining that symmetry. So yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, you can see the height difference between the treble crochet and the double crochet. We got 2 more of those to make. 2 and 3. Alright, so those are our 3 double crochets. And now we're going to do 1/2 double crochet into the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we should have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still blurry, but you can still make it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And in those last 4 stitches, we're going to put 1 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and find the head. There we go. 4. That is row 6. So now we have a hole for the mouth, we have a hole for the nose. Let's move on to row 7, shall we? We shall. Chain 2. Turn your work. 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now 1/2 double crochet into the next 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that takes us right up to this chain 6 space. And now we're going to put 4 double crochet over the chain 6 space. So remember, just spread them out across the chain 6. So double crochet 4 of them. So yarn over, go up under the chain, yarn over, sorry about that, it was out of the camera, out of the frame, yarn over, go under, like that, hook it on, pull it back up under to the front. We have 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Alright, 3 more. 1, 2, okay. That's the second one, this is the third, and this will be the 4th. Okay, now that we have our 4 double crochets spread over the chain 6 space, we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So we're done with the chain 6 space. Now we go into the next actual stitch that's not a chain. and that's where we start to put our double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the 4 double crochets that we needed. Now we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the next 7 stitches, as you probably expected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet into the final 4. Sure, you're expecting that as well. 1, 2, 3, and find the top, slide up under that icing, and 4. Okay, so we're basically just kind of solidifying everything now. Okay, so we don't have to worry about any more spaces in this part of the mask, and this will be the part that actually touches the face. Let's do row 8, shall we? Chain 2, 1, 2, turn your work. And this last row should be reminiscent of the very first row. So 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 half double crochet in the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Once again, you should be putting the same type of stitch in the same type of stitch below. This was the last half double, and then we went to the double. So we crocheted into that last half double, so now we know that it's time to change stitches. 1 double crochet into the next 12 stitches. Told you it was going to sound familiar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, and just as a double check, we should have a height discrepancy between this stitch and this one. It's a little harder to tell with this, but this stitch is taller than that one, so we know it's time to start the half double crochets. So we're going to make 7 half double crochets, so 1 half double crochet in the next 7 stitches, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go through everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We should have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 single crochet in the last 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Once again, find that top for that last stitch. Slice the icing, and 4. Now we need to cut our yarn, so we'll grab our scissors, chain 1 and pull all the way through. Okay. So let's look at what we have here. Just kind of spread this out a little bit, like that. Okay, so this is essentially what we have. We have a space for the mouth, a space for the nose, this tail, and this tail, which we can always weave in later. But this will fit nicely over your face, and once you get it on your face, this buckling will be resolved, so don't worry about that. Alright, let's move to the next part. Now it's time to make the flap, and we're going to actually be making 2 of these. So I'm going to show you how to make a flap this first time, and then I'm going to allow you on your own to make the second one. So be sure to pay close attention, and they're identical. So if you need help when you make the second one, just rewind the video and watch that section again. Alright, so we're going to start out by making a slip knot. Just like before, we're still using the same size IUSA hook, and this time instead of chaining 35, we're going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know why that tail wanted to get in the way. Alright, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now we're going to put 1 half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook this time. So 1, 2, 3, that's the 3rd chain from the hook. 1 half double, so we yarn over first, and then we enter the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So go into the next chain there, and 1 half double. That's 1. You have to do it one more time, and that is 2. So far we've made a total of 3 half double crochets. The first one occurred in the 3rd chain from the hook, which is there. Here are the other chains, and then I put 1 half double crochet in each of the next 2 chain stitches. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet in the next 12 stitches. So yarn over, go into the next chain stitch, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Alright, 1, 2, and it's always kind of tough to crochet, you know, the first row after the chains. What I like to do is, as I get more body, I like to hold on to it with these fingers. You'll figure out what works best for you, but that's kind of something that I like to do, and it keeps it kind of straight. So you see I'm holding on to it with these 2 fingers while I crochet across. Alright, so 3, and then 4, 5, 6. See how it curls? That's why I like to hold it back. Alright. Alright. I think that's 7, but let me go back and double check. So 1, 2, 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you guys, if you haven't been able to tell, I'm pretty big on making sure I have the right number of stitches. I count a lot. I double, triple, and quadruple check sometimes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That should leave me with 3 stitches left, 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put 1 half double crochet in those final 3 chain stitches. So 1, 2, and in the final chain stitch 3. Okay, that is row 1. Okay, let's chain 2 so we can start to work on row 2. And just as in the main part of the mask, we always crochet into the same stitch, that very first stitch of the row. That will help to keep the edges straight. Alright, so we chain 2, we turned our work, and now we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next 12 stitches. So notice once again the height discrepancy between this stitch and this stitch. This was a half double in the previous row. This is a double crochet in the previous row. And at this point we are crocheting the same type of stitch into the stitches below. So we crocheted half doubles here, we just put 3 half doubles up here. We crocheted 12 double crochets there, and now we're about to crochet 12 double crochets in this row. Alright, so let's count out 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we want to double check to make sure that our last and 12th double crochet is going into the last double crochet of the row below. This stitch is shorter than this stitch, so that's a half double. This is a double crochet, so yes, we're putting our final and 12th double crochet into the last double crochet in the row below. So it's just an added check to make sure you are following the pattern as you should. And then we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the remaining 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and find the top. There we go. 3. Alright, that's row 2. Moving on to row 3, we're going to chain 2, turn our work, and now we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, and if you can't get through all 3 at a time, you can do it one by one. And 3. Let me show you what I mean. So say I couldn't get through all 3 at the same time, which oftentimes is because you don't have your hook turned all the way in the direction that it needs to be turned to get through all 3. See how I was able to do it then? But say I didn't have it like that. Say I thought I had it, but it was kind of like this. You see how I'm running into trouble? I got through the first one, but I got caught on the second one. If you still haven't mastered turning your hook all the way to get through all loops, then just go one at a time. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So those are our 3 half double crochets of row 3. Now we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next 12 stitches. Now you might be remembering the main mask where we did single crochets. Yes, it's related to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And in these last 3 remaining stitches, we're going to put half double crochets. So 1 half double crochet into each stitch. 1, 2, and for the final one, that makes our 3. Okay. So the reason that we are sort of mimicking the same types of stitches that we did in the main mask is because we wanted it to, ultimately when we finish all 8 rows, we want it to be of a comparable height to the main mask. So that's why I did single crochets here, because in the row in the main face mask, at that point I did single crochets, you see? So that as I crochet up, they will be of comparable height. So if you're wondering, or if some of these patterns seem somewhat similar, that is why. Alright, moving on to row 4. Chain 2, turn your work, 1 half double crochet in the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. And now we're going to do 1 treble crochet in the next 10 stitches. So remember, the treble crochet you have to yarn over twice. 1, 2. Okay. That's 1. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. 1, 2. Go through to the front, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And I need some slack. Let's count how many treble crochets we've made. So this is our 3 half doubles, this is our 1 double, and now we've made 3 treble crochets for row 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright. Now that we have made our 10 treble crochets, we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch. So just yarn over once, go into the stitch, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And then we're going to put 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. So yarn over, go into there, yarn over, and go through all 3. Okay. And now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. You might be wondering, where the heck did that chain 2 come from? Why are we putting a chain 2 there? The reason is because we're going to create a space here for our button to fasten on. Okay. So we chain the 2, and then we're going to skip over this next stitch right here. Okay, so basically these were our last 3 stitches. I've crocheted into 1, and then there's 2, and then there's 3. So this is the first half double. Normally we would end a row with crocheting 1 half double into each of these 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. But because we want to leave a little hole there for our button, we're going to crochet a half double crochet into that first one. We're going to chain 2, which we did, and skip this second one, And then the very last stitch, that's where we're going to put our half double and go through everything. Okay, so it leaves a little hole there. All right, row 5, chain 2, turn our work. 1 half double crochet into the first stitch. So normally I would start out the row saying, okay, 1 half double crochet into the first 3 stitches, and essentially it is that, but because we have this chain 2 space, I've decided to just break it up just to make sure you understand. So I said instead to do 1 half double crochet into the same stitch. So let's go into this very same and first stitch that we always go into, just there, and make a half double crochet. Alright, and then I say put 1 half double crochet into the chain 2 space, so yarn over, just like in the May mask when we were crocheting in the chain 6 and chain 12 spaces. Same thing for the chain 2 space. Go up under that chain 2, yarn over, pull it through, back up under, so that you end up with 3 loops, and then yarn over and go through all 3 because we're making half double crochets. And then put your last half double crochet in the next stitch. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, which is here, and make a half double crochet. So essentially you've done what you've always been doing, beginning the row with 3 half double crochets, but in the first one you put the first half double crochet in the double crochet of the row below. You put your second half double crochet in that chain 2 space, and you put your third half double crochet in the half double crochet of the row below. It's really not a big deal, but once again we did that to leave or to make a gap with space for the button. Okay, now that we've got that done and behind us, we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 12 stitches. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I almost made a trouble. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So let's stop and count them. So these are our 3 half doubles. Now we get to the doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And I swear, I said it before, but this variegated yarn really makes counting stitches so much easier. Because they're different colors, or, you know, there's subtle differences that make them stand out more, so you don't lose track as easily. Alright, and we're going to end this row by putting 1 half double crochet in the last 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. So let's do that. Okay, that is row 5. Row 6, let's chain 2, turn our work, and we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the first 3 stitches. So go into the same stitch as always, and that's 2, and then this will be 3. Okay. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so let me double check. Here are my first 3 half double crochets. Here are the 3 double crochets. Now we're going to do 1 treble crochet in the next 6 stitches. Okay, so yarn over twice and go into the next stitch. Okay, that's 1. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, that's 2. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, that's 3. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, that's 4. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, that's 5. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and that should be 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alrighty, now we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So just yarn over once. 1, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Alright, so, and then we have 1 more. Yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Alright, those are my 3 double crochets. And now we're going to put 1/2 double crochet in the last 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. That is row 6. Now it's time for row 7 and 8, which happen to be identical. Chain 2, turn your work, and 1/2 double crochet in the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Now 1 double crochet in the next 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, halfway, 7, 8, 9, and my yarn got a little tangled because I pulled so much slack. Alright, let me check my count. So these were my first 3 half doubles. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then I should have 3 stitches left for my half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. So my counting is correct, and it's helpful. All right, chain 2, turn your work. The final row, row 8. It's exactly the same as row 7. So 1/2 double crochet in the first 3 stitches of the row. Okay. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet in the next 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then in the remaining 3 stitches we'll put our half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. That's my yarn there. So let me show you how to unsplit it. Just put it back through like that and pull like that. Okay, you see it's now not split. Now let's try to go through again. Alright, so those are my last 3 half double crochets of the row. This is row 8 and this is the final row. So we can chain 1 and we can cut our yarn like such, like so, pull it through. Okay, and so this is essentially what we have now. Okay, now when we compare this to the original, you'll see now this is the hole, side with the hole, and we want that to be over there. But in terms of the height of it, you see that it's definitely of a comparable height. So that was the point of trying to basically mirror the same types of stitches in the same locations. Also, you might have been wondering why we didn't start out with single crochets on either end. Well, remember, the single crochets happened here, and then we did 7 half double crochets, and then we got into the double, and then 7 half double crochets, and then we finished with the single crochets. But since we basically only needed to cover the center section, I took out 4 of the half double crochets and the single crochets that occurred before, and on this side I took out 4 of the half double crochets and the single crochets that occurred after, and that left the 3 half double crochets and the 12 double crochets in the center. So that's why it ended up like this. If yours is kind of curving like that, that means it's turning out perfectly, because I want it to curve like that so that it's not directly up against your face and nose and stuff, so that it's kind of like a little pocket, if you will, which will hopefully help you breathe a little better. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to make another one of these exactly the same way. Okay, you can make it in the same color, or you can change the color. It doesn't matter, but just maintain the same tension and make it exactly the same way you did this one, and then we will piece everything together. Alright, so now we have our main part and then our 2 identical flaps. So now it's time to connect these 2. Alright, so you can decide which one you want to be on the outside and which one you want to be on the inside. I kind of like this one on the outside because of that brown there for some reason. So I put that on the top. Now I just kind of line them up. And as far as these tails are concerned, I'm going to crochet over them, so I don't have to worry about weaving them in later. But before I do, I'm going to cut them to a comparable length with my scissors. Okay. Now I'm going to take the same yarn that I was using, make a slip knot, use the same size needle that I've been using all along, and I'm going to find the first stitch in each corner. So this black one, that's the first stitch for that flap, and there's this first stitch for that flap. So now that I found the first stitch, I'm going to throw those tails back over, and I'm going to yarn over, pull that through both of those first stitches, yarn over with the tails up under, land on top, yarn over, and on a single crochet like that. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing across the top all the way to the other end. Okay, So I'm doing single crochet, so I don't yarn over first. I just go into the appropriate stitches. So here's the second stitch of the first flap. Here's the second stitch right there of the second flap. I make sure the tails are over. Now I yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, make sure I'm yarning over the tails, and then I single crochet. Okay, and you just keep going through each stitch for both of the flaps, making sure you're crocheting over the tail. Okay, and eventually they will be concealed and the top part of these flaps will be joined. Okay, make sure you're lining up the correct stitches on each flap as well. So once again, if we go in this angle, I'm going to line up this stitch with that brown one. So I make sure I slide in there, right? That's the top of that stitch for this flap, and I slide in here because that's the top of the stitch for that flap. I yarn over like that, and then I make sure the tails are down as I crochet over them like that. And so basically I'm just making single crochets all along the length of these flaps. Okay, really easy. And yeah, it gets, once the tails are gone, it's really easy because basically you don't have to worry about crocheting over anything. You just make sure you putting your needle in both stitches, or in the stitches of each flap. That's the better way of saying it. I can speak, people, I swear. So like that. Stitch of the first flap, this is the black. Stitch of the second flap, the flap behind, is that light green. And I'll just crochet over it. If you're catching anything, I just let it go. Okay. Now I do it again, and now I'm catching pure brown. Okay. I'll just single crochet. See how I'm catching the tops? The same stitches for each flap. Both flaps have the same number of stitches, so I shouldn't have more stitches on one flap than the other. So make sure you go in the same stitch for each flap when you're doing this. This is the last stitch for both flaps. I do my last. Caught something else, so let's go back through. Caught the brown of the flap, which I don't want. I only want the brown for this yarn I'm using right now. So just do it over, okay? Alrighty. Now, if I were going to seal this up, I would just crochet across this and begin to seal this side. But because I'm not sealing this up, I'm going to chain one and cut my yarn. And then I'm going to pull through. Remember, the reason that I'm leaving this side open is because that's the side that I'm going to be able to slide my filter or my cloth, whatever I decide to put in here. That will be the side with the opening, so that's why I am not joining this. Also, one thing to mention is when you line these up, notice that I lined up the holes for each flap on the same side. So the hole for this flap matches the hole for this flap, so that they occur on the same side. Alright, so now we're going to do exactly the same thing for this bottom. Let's cut these tails so that they are also of a comparable length. Okay, and use our yarn again. So slip knot, okay. All right, this side It's not quite as straightforward because you don't really have the tops of the stitches, but you do have the bottoms of the stitches. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. Pretty much find the same first stitch on both flaps, and we're going to insert our hook there. So let's insert a hook there and there, like that. Pull our tails forward, just like before. Now we're going to put our yarn in the back, even though the loop is in the front. Yarn comes from the back, yarn over, pull through, and now yarn over and single crochet. Also, this tail right here, tighten that so you can pull on that. And then now we're going to crochet over that tail with the other two tails. Alright, so this is called tail management. The more we do now, the less we have to do later. So yeah, I'm just finding the tops, or I'm finding the bottoms of these stitches, and I'm inserting the crochet hook, and I'm just making single crochets across it while hiding the tails as I crochet over them. Okay? So it's not a big deal. Sometimes you just have to get creative in terms of where to crochet. This is split. Okay, so I passed it over so that I could let go of it so that it wouldn't continue to split, and I just continue. So once again, from this angle, the bottom of that stitch, from that flap, the bottom of that stitch, from that flap, lay the tails down, yarn over, and just continue to crochet across. Okay, alright, so let's continue with this. So we have once again this flap and this flap. I'm going to go in here and here. Okay, so here and there, put the tails down, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and crochet over it. And that is really all that it is, guys. It may seem like a lot, but it's really not that bad. The bottom of that stitch with the bottom of the corresponding one on that flap, and we just single crochet across. And just as before, once you are past the tails, it gets really easy because things become so much clearer. You can see exactly where you need to insert your crochet hook, right? There. So yeah, just it's very clear. You don't have tails kind of obstructing your view. You can see exactly where you need to crochet now. These single crochets. See how I grabbed part of the brown, so I'm going to let that go. And we're going to try again. Much better. It's all black. Alright, and then the final, this corner. Like that. Yarn over, through, yarn over. There we go. Alright, and we're not going to seal this up, but this is the button side, so we will also leave that open. We could seal it up, but it's not that big of a deal. I kind of like to leave it open just in case I ever need to stuff something in from this side. Okay, so I chain one, I'll cut my yarn, and then I'll pull through. And this tail, along with this one, I'll weave in later. Okay, so just turn this around so the holes are like that. Now we have the main part. So now you basically want to do best job possible of centering this and putting it where it needs to be, where you want it. Okay, The button is going to be on this side, and this will be the left side of the mask. It will be on the left side of your face if we were to turn around and put it on. Alright, so now I am going to connect this bottom flap to the main piece. But as I said, I want to make sure I have it lined up properly. Okay? So, and I'm only connecting this edge to it so it can open. If I were to connect this or that, then I wouldn't be able to move it. It would be stuck, right? So that's why I'm only connecting this bottom to that. Also, you might be wondering, well, why aren't you connecting this top part of this top flap to that as well? Because if I connected that to that, that would close that up, and then I wouldn't be able to slide my filter in, remember? So that's why I'm only connecting this bottom flap to the main piece that will actually touch your face. Alright, so once I have gotten my flaps centered on my mask where I think I want it to be, then I'm going to grab my darning needle and want to pass the yarn through. Usually it's easiest to just kind of loop it a little bit and force the yarn through just enough where you can grab it with your nails and pull it. Then I kind of like to tie a little loose knot, nothing too tight that will be hard to get out. Okay, now that I have this exactly how I want it, don't worry about that tail, I'm going to start at this corner. Actually, I'm going to start from the back of the main piece. So this main piece, start from the back, and I'm going to come in through the back flap like that. Just kind of pull it through. And I'm going to pull it a ways. And once I've pulled it a good distance, this is all the distance that I've pulled it, then I am going to cut the yarn that's coming from the skein. Okay. Now I'm going to just a little ways over, go through a different stitch right next to it, and go back through like that. So that I'm coming out pretty much right next to where I went in. Now I'm going to pull on this until I get to the end, or almost the end of the tail, and I'm going to tie a knot, and this will secure the yarn on the back side. Does that make sense? So let's just tie a little knot like that. And I love to tie double knots just to make sure that it is secure and that it doesn't come undone. So I tie 2 knots. Okay. And now we can just start to sew these 2 pieces together. The main with this back flap. Okay. Make sure once again that it's lined up exactly how you want it to be lined up, because we're starting to sew it together now. So since we last ended on the back, remember we came back out through the back, you want to make sure you start from the back. You don't want to end on the back and then start from the front, because then you'll have this loop going from the back to the front, right? So to keep it kind of seamless, just make sure you start where you end. So since we ended in the back, we start from the back and we go to the next stitch over like that. And since we ended on the front just now, we're gonna start in the front and go to the back like that. Now that we have ended at the back, we're gonna start from the back and go into a different stitch and make sure we come out just over from where we went in. And I think you guys kind of get the point now. So, and just go back and forth all the way across, going in nearby stitches. And also see how when I initially came out, it wasn't coming out through this back flap. So make sure you angle your darning, weaving, tapestry needle so that it's catching the back flap. Or what the heck are we doing? Okay. Back and forth. Okay. We're more than halfway across. That's a good thing. See how it always comes out just above it when I'm not looking? So just angle it so that you can actually make sure you're sewing the back flap to the main part. Okay. See how it came just above? So angle it down. Okay. Alright, let's go in. We're getting to the end or the edge of this back flap. Coming out. Alright, going back in. Now watch where I come out here as I go in here. Right now I'm coming out of the front and back flap, so I want to pull back a little bit and make sure I'm only catching that back flap. And then it's always a good idea to end in the back, so just go over a little bit more and come out through the back. Okay. And now this is, as you see, I can't pull this up anymore because it's now attached to the main part. Now if you wanted to do this, you could go back across just to make sure that it's as secure as you want it. But I know that it's secure, so I'm not going to do that. What I am, however, going to do is from the back, go back to the front through a nearby stitch. So you can choose any, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to make sure I go through the back flap again, that bottom flap. Okay. Okay. So I'm pulling it through and I got this huge loop on the back side. Now I'm going to go back to the back, just wherever I can find a spot, before I pull so tightly that this loop closes. So see, I could pull and see how it gets smaller and smaller, the loop. I don't want it to completely close before I go back there. So I'll find a spot and I'm going to go back to the back loop. Now that I'm back here, I want to go through that loop and this will tie a knot for me. So watch this. Okay. And then just going to go through another stitch in the back like that, and I'm gonna go through this loop again just to secure the knot. Okay, and there you go. So let's cut this yarn and let's see what we have. So if you disregard all the tails, all the eyesores that are tails, and we just look at what we just did, we just connected this, the flap, to the main body. Okay, so, and we left this opening so that we can, as I've said a million times, slide our filter or cloth, whatever we're going to use in there to act as a filter. We left that open so we can slide that in there. Okay, so if you're looking at this, this is just a remnant of one of the tails that we were crocheting over. Since it's sticking out, all you have to do is kind of just go up to it. Make sure you don't cut the body of the face mask, but just snip it. And now it's gone. Alright, so let's add our button. Alright, so I've decided to use this style button, which has a smaller hole than the button I showed at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to use this weaving needle, which has an eye that I can still fit yarn through, but has a body that's thin enough to actually get through the hole with a little force. So that's my approach. Now, in terms of where to place the button, obviously, ideally, it's going to be like that, right? But you want to kind of try to just find where the button should go on the main part of the face mask. So even though the hole is there, I kind of like to have it just a little bit forward so that it kind of has to stretch to hook onto the button, and then it'll kind of go back and lock into place. So right here is kind of where the hole is, right there. So I'm just going to put it a little bit forward that, so that when I finally hook it on, it'll lock into place. Okay. Now I'm just going to grab some more yarn, just cut a long piece off. Alright, and we're going to get this yarn fed through this eye. Hopefully without too much problem. Alright, that was very good. I was very lucky. And something else you can do, I didn't mention this before, you can tie one. That's what I did before. You can also tie a second one. That should kind of help should help the knot to stay in even more. Should help you not lose your yarn. Okay? Alright, so now that we've got yarn on the needle and we've got the location, the approximate location of where we want our button, we're going to come from the back, make sure we're going through a stitch somewhere, and kind of feel for a hole. Okay, you can't see it, there you go. And we're going to pull through, just kind of shimmy it through. And before we pull the rest of the yarn through, we're going to go back in through a cross hole. So this hole we came out of, we're going to go back in to the hole, through the hole that's across from it, so that way. Alright, and just make sure you're going through a stitch preferably. If not, it's not the end of the world, especially on this pass, because we're about to tie a knot, so pull it through. Okay, there we go. And we'll pull until the end gets shorter. Okay, and now we will tie our knot to secure the button in place, just like we tied a knot the last time we were using the darning needle, the weaving needle. And I like to tie 2 knots, as you guys know. Okay, now we can start to reinforce this button by just going through different holes. So we use those 2. So now let's use one that we haven't used. So just stick it through the body somewhere and try to get it to go through this hole. You'll have to kind of feel around sometimes, see how it went through that one, but I want that one. So also make sure you always come from the same side you ended on. So I ended on the back, so that's why I'm coming from the back. Now I'm on the front, so I need to come from the front. And I'm going to go across from that one. And when I sew buttons, I always like to go, well, at first anyway, I like to go diagonally, like across. Just pull through. And usually I'll do that a couple of times. Now, the last time I came from this hole, so this time I'm going to come from that hole across from it. Just kind of, and it gets tougher after you've gone through there with yarn already, so keep that in mind as well. Let's see, hopefully we can get this through. Let's see if I can put something solid down to press my needle on without damaging or destroying my desk. There we go. A little bit more. It's almost there, guys, I swear. There you go. Just pull it through like that. And since we came out of that one, I'll go into the one across. And just kind of pay attention to where you're coming out. And on that side as well. Okay. So now I want to do these two again. Remember, I'm on the back side, so I'm going to start from the back. I'm going to come from the back. So, let's see if I can get there. Alright. I'm going to press this metal part of the... Oh, it's pretty much almost there. I was going to say I was going to press it against the crochet hook to help me get it through, but it's pretty much there. And then I'll go through here, through the one across from it, back down, coming from the front since this is where I ended, and I'll just continue to kind of jimmy it through. So now you can see from this side, I'm going to use this crochet hook to press against the metal because my fingers, it will hurt my fingers if I use my fingers. Alright, so now you see it's pushed in there, and then I'll use my hands to pull it the rest of the way. Okay, and now it's tight. If I were to pull it, it's secure. So now back on this side, I'm going to tie a knot from that initial tail that I had at the beginning. I'm going to tie a couple of more knots in there just to make sure the button does not come undone. Alright, and then I'm going to cut both tails. That's the tail that's in the weaving needle, and this is the tail that originally came from the skein, I believe. Alright, and now let's test the button out. Will it work? Will it function the way I want it to? I want it to go through this hole, so. And yes, it does. Okay. Very good. So now we have our button, and let's clean up some of these tails right quick. So you can take a darning needle like this. I'm only going to demonstrate one because I don't want the video to be any longer than it has to be, and it's already really long. So just kind of feed it through and then start to go through, you know, stitches. Now this is going to be interesting because the yarn is variegated, so normally, you know, you wouldn't be able to necessarily tell when you're weaving yarn in, but you might be able to if you hit a different color. But at the same time, because the yarn is variegated, it may not matter, right? Because the colors are intentionally like changing at random. So, yeah, I guess it's kind of a non-issue as I think more about it. Okay, so I'm going to cut this after I've weaved it in through some stitches. Alright, so I'm just going to do that for all the other tails. So 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, there were 2 tails here. One from this and then one that I forgot to crochet over, so I tied them together. So there are 2 knots here, so I can just cut these off. It's already completely secure. Okay, so I got 3 more tails to weave in, and then we will add the elastic band, which is the final step. See you there. Alright, so now it's time to secure the elastic band to the face mask. This is the final step. Now, before I show you how to do that, I want to talk about an alternative to using an elastic band. You may not have an elastic band. If that's the case, then you can do this. Or you may not like the band. You may prefer the loops that go around your ears, in which case you can also do it this way. So just use whatever yarn you want and attach a yarn to one end. Let's choose this one. Secure it with a slip stitch or a single crochet, and then chain how many ever stitches that makes a loop that's big enough that will reach your ears. Okay, and then once you have found that number of chain stitches that does that, secure it on this end. You can secure with a single crochet or a slip stitch. And then you can do the same thing on this side. Just attach the yarn, chain out how many ever, and then attach it on the other side, and you can secure the face mask to your ears. And that's a popular way of doing it. In fact, the majority of the face masks that I see, they utilize that approach. I personally don't care for that approach because oftentimes I'm wearing computer glasses or I'm wearing a tam. Basically, my ears are not all that accessible. So to have to take, the straps off when I want to take the mask off or whatever, or to have to reach under my tam to gain access to my ears, it's just a hassle. So that's why I personally prefer the elastic bands, because I can just fit the face mask and the band, more specifically, over whatever I'm wearing, whatever type of headgear I'm wearing. And I can have my glasses on and they're unaffected because I'm not really using my ears with the elastic band. Alright, let me show you how to do this now. Alright, so you're going to take your tape measure as well as your elastic band, and you're going to measure out approximately 17 inches. Obviously, the length that you cut the elastic band will depend on the size of the head that you're going to be using the face mask on and trying to get around. So yeah, this is just a length I should say, that works well for me. And it's not a bad place to start. Alright, so we'll take the band that we just cut and we're going to attach it to this side first. I'm a symmetry freak, so I'm going to try to find the midway spot between here and here. I like there. And you could attach it just one stitch from the edge, but I kind of prefer 2 stitches from the edge. So I'm going to stick it in here. Now, you could come from the back, pull it out and fold it over and fasten it there, but I like to go up under to try to keep it a little bit more concealed. And you'll see what I mean as I do this. So I'm going to use this needle to kind of push this through to the other side like that. And then now I can just pull it. And then I am going to flip this over to kind of adjust that a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, and now I'm going to take my stapler and I'm just going to staple it together, making sure that I'm going through both parts of the band like that. Okay? Alright, now moving to the other side, I'm going to take the band, make sure it is staying folded in the correct way. And now I'm going to find that middle spot over here between top and bottom and 2 stitches over. And that's there. And remember, I'm coming from around this way. Take my darning needle and push that in that way. and keeping it like that so that it's not twirled. You see? And now I'm going to take my stapler and staple this side as well. So I just try to find a good spot along. I try to keep it straight. Alright. And now I've attached a band to these, okay? So this is how I make my face masks, you guys, okay? And it's nice because it has, if I need to take a breather, you know, if I'm by myself somewhere, or say I'm in the car and I can take the mask off, but I know I'm going to have to get back out the car and be around people, then I don't have to take the whole mask off. I can just take this off, take a breather, get some oxygen, take a sip of something, or drink something, all the while leaving the mask on. And then when it's time for prime time again, when it's game time, just put that back on and I'm good to go. Okay? Don't forget to utilize the area for the filter. You can take your cloth or whatever filter you're going to use, cut it to the size so that it fits in there, and that will add yet even more protection. Okay? I do hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. I know it's long. My tutorials tend to be long because I try my best to be so thorough where you guys are concerned, because I want to try to act like you guys are beginners and you need to see everything from scratch. So hopefully you have enjoyed the tutorial. I'm sorry it has been so long. Hopefully the length of this one kind of makes up for it. Thank you once again to all of you who have subscribed. I hope you guys continue to pour in, and I will see you in the next video. Happy crocheting!